Well, the message is this, that don't lose hope. Don't give up. Don't feel that it's all over. You still have a great and a bright future. And Nigeria is and can be and will be a great country. But make an input. Stand against evil. Stand against tyranny. Stand up for the weak. Speak for the persecuted. Honor those that deserve to be honored. Don't allow yourselves to be used by government or by people, any government, any political party, any politician, simply because they give you a few crumbs and you begin to go on Facebook or social media and abuse people that are standing up for the weak. Let me tell you, remember one thing. God rules in the affairs of men. And if you have innocent people being locked up or being butchered in their homes and so on and so forth, and you don't feel there's anything wrong like that, God tends to turn away from you and allow you to suffer the fate that your enemies want you to suffer. So you have to develop a conscience and understand that an injustice against one is an injustice against one. And you deserve better. You deserve good governance. You deserve a bright future. But we must get it right. There must be equity. There must be justice. There must be decency. When you say Nigerian youths, these so-called youths, their counterparts in other parts of the world, are already MPs. They're already government ministers. They're leading countries. 30-year-olds are presidents of various countries in Europe. I mean, it's unbelievable. And here you say you're a youth, you can't have anything apart from, making commentary on people's threads on Facebook. You really should understand that you have so much more in you. You could be president. You could be a minister. You could be this. You could be that. Those of us in my generation, we've already served. We've already done our best. I mean, I am 57 this year. I'm approaching 60 years old. For goodness sake, I'm looking behind me and I'm asking myself, where are those that will come on board now? 30-year-olds, 25-year-olds. They have the strength, they have the virility, they have the power to make a difference. They should be on the streets protesting where something has gone wrong. And they should be on the streets commending where things have gone right. And where people are persecuted and killed, for goodness sake, go to any country in the world. It is the youth that stand up and say no. It is the youth that the government fear. It is the youth that have a future to fight for. And it is the youth that will deliver this country.
Sorry, I said that was my last question. But you see, when I was coming, I told two of my colleagues that I was coming to have an interview with you.
Yes.
And I said, if they have any question, they should send. And two just arrived now. Please permit me to take this.
Go ahead.
One of them is the 2018 election. The INEC has just given a date for the election in Osun State and Ekiti. Now, for your own state, are we likely to see an FFK coming out for a government?
Well, let's wait and see how that goes. Definitely, I didn't come. I've never run for elective office before because I'm waiting for the right time to do so. I have my eyes fixed firmly on what I want to run for, and I promised myself I will never run for any other office. There are two offices I will eventually run for, and it's just a question of time. Osun has been through a lot in the hands of Aregbesola and the APC, and they deserve good quality leadership. They deserve strength. They deserve power. They deserve a transformation in that state. And within the PDP family, we will make our own determinations. Of course, my good friend and brother, my kinsman, Iola Omishore, is interested and has been interested for many years. There are one or two other people who, from the state, who I have immense respect for, who are also interested. It's a family affair. We'll sit down and we'll determine which of us will go forward for this election. And whoever it is, whoever emerges as our candidate, the rest of us will back that person. We'll back that person with everything we've got in order to ensure that Osun, gets into the right hands once again. Quite apart from that, like I said, maybe I'm looking at something bigger than Osun State Governor. It's just a question of time. But definitely, when the time comes and I feel it's appropriate, probably I will appeal to a wider constituency. That is, whether I end up being governor of Osun State or not, at some point in time, I believe that my calling is at the federal level in this country, and I believe that I will eventually run for the presidency of this country. And by that time, when I run for it, I will win.
My editor in the office just sent me this question and said, what do you think? What do you make of the moves by the National Assembly to pass the anti-NGO CSO?
Well, that's a terrible thing, and I sincerely hope it's not passed. It's like the other one they tried to pass, which I wrote about. No, it's not even that one. That one is also a terrible one, the freedom one. You see, anything that attempts to, the hate speech and all, anything that attempts to curb the freedom of expression is dangerous. The other one that I found repugnant was the bill that was to curtail, was to give land to Fulani herdsmen. I forgot the name, grazing bill or something like that, which of course died because it was leaked out. The National Assembly, though, it's not there, it was a lie, it was there. I wrote about it, and it came out, and Nigerians said no, and it's died a natural death. I sincerely hope the NGO bill will die. If the NGO bill passes through, nobody will be safe. Churches, mosques, everybody will be under scrutiny. Everybody will be affected. NGOs will be under government control. Nobody will be safe. And if that happens, we are truly in trouble. And I pray it never happens. So like I said earlier, eventually I will run for public office in this country. Whether it's governor, president, or whatever, but I will run for office in this country. And when that time comes, I will win.
Okay, that was, and you do know that the Kurumadu Committee, after the 2015 presidential election, where the PDP now decided to do work, and said for the presidency, it recommended that she should be zoned to the north. And you were there to support your brother and friend, Fayose. How do you reconcile this as a party man, knowing that the party expects a presidential candidate?
First of all, Fayose has the constitutional right to aspire to be anything he likes within the party. He's earned that right. The right is there anyway, but he's earned it because he's risked so much, more than most other people and stuck his neck out for the PDP and for the Nigerian people. And I have immense respect for him, and I have immense affection for him. He's a man of courage and strength. He has the right to aspire. It's his constitutional right. Okay? And he can do so within PDP or outside PDP. It's entirely up to him, his choices. He makes his choices at the time he chooses to make them. I am his friend. And I never, ever, ever, ever turn my back on friends. If my friend says he wants to do something, it's my duty to say, I will stand by you in your aspiration, because you've proved yourself to be a true and loyal friend. And that's why I was there. Fayose is somebody that when I was in detention, he came to see me. Fayose is the person that saved my wife when the EFCC tried to pick up my wife and detained her in a bank, and my 1-year-old son at the time. He came there. And he ensured that she was not humiliated and locked up for no reason, for nothing. Up till now, nothing has come of it. Nothing. They never invited her. Just to spite me, Fayose stood up against that injustice and tyranny. Tyranny against a 1-year-old and a young lady simply because she was my wife. Okay? Fayose stood by me. Which other PDP person came there? Which other PDP governor would have done that? And you now say because of a zoning ring, I shouldn't stand by my friend. I'll stand by him any day, anytime. That's number one. Let me also say this. When it comes to zoning, he said without prejudice to whatever happens at the convention. He gets to the convention and people sit down and prevail on him and say, look, this is what we agreed. Why don't you reconsider? He may do so and support somebody from the north. We may all do so, and most important of all, nobody from the north has come out publicly to say he wants to run. When and if that happens, then we look at it and say, okay, fine. But a year or 1.5 years before an election, presidential election, in a country of 180 million people, nobody has come out to say they want to be president in this country from the north, because they're all scared of the government and of the president, that they will be harassed, they will be this. A few have been moving around quietly and covertly. Nobody has launched their campaign. Nobody has come out publicly to declare an interest to be president. And then you say the one person that says he wants to be shouldn't say so. Listen, this is it's a game of negotiation. It's a serious business. It's not a joke. We're not going to sit back and say we're waiting for somebody to now determine, oh, this is the anointed one to come out. If you want to be presidential candidate in our party, and it's our party, not their party, we all own the party together. We all own the party together. And we all have supporters in our various constituencies. And we need everybody. You can't say you are sitting somewhere, you don't need so and so. That's the mistake they made the last time. You don't treat people with contempt. You don't talk down to people. You don't run people down. And you don't say things that so and so doesn't matter, he's on his own. You don't do that. It's wrong to do that in a political party. He aspired. He came out. We will come out at the right time. We'll all sit together and determine what's in the interest of the party. And yes, it has been zoned. We accept that. I accept that. When the time comes, He will sit down and review his position. I will look at the situation myself and we'll make our decision as to who we want to support if the thing is going to change. But to say you can't voice something out, you can't voice an aspiration, which happens to be your constitutional, especially coming from somebody that has worked so hard for this party. Every single local government area in a state, every single legislator, every single thing or anybody that's anybody in government is PDP. He's the only person in the whole of the South has managed to pull that off. Nobody else has done it. Then you say he doesn't have the right, and then you now start talking him down, treating him with contempt. It's wrong. If you have a problem with that, you call him quietly and say, look, listen, remember what we had agreed. Let's look at this. That's how you do these things. And I've urged everybody concerned. We must all come together. Everybody must work together. Every part of the country, PDP, north, south, east, and west, come together, and then we'll eventually sit down and determine who our candidate will be. We'll negotiate. Nobody will take it just like that. And once we have a candidate, we will get into the field, and my goodness me, we will fight for that candidate. We will campaign for him. And by the way, one thing I say, let me just end with this. If you say the national chairmanship is open to the whole of the South, then you must also say that the vice presidency is open to the whole of the South. Because this idea that it is only the Southwest that will be made to give up something in the name of the South, it works both ways. So you see where I'm heading with this. If we don't get the presidency in the South, if we don't get the presidency or the chairmanship in the Southwest, it gives us the right and the opportunity to make a claim for the vice presidency. Right now, as we speak, many believe the vice president should go to the Igbos. And you know, I have a soft spot for the Igbos. My wife is Igbo. I love the Igbos. I've spoken for the Igbos, and I will always do so because I think they're deeply courageous people that deserve to be supported, and they've suffered probably more than any other group in this country. So I'm a great Igbo person. I love the Igbos. But we must sit down and look at these things. We must agree on these things. Whatever it takes to ensure, whatever formula that we can come up with that will ensure that President Buhari and the APC are swept out of power in a free and fair election in 2019 is what we need to do. And we need to have everybody on board. The Igbos, the Yoruba, the Niger Deltans, the Middle Belters, the core Northerns. We need to bring everybody on board and make them feel part and parcel of this party in order to be able to achieve that. That's the challenge that we're facing. And that, by the grace of God, is what we will do.